I was fortunate enough to have some really neat people, and all of them with similar situations that I was in. One in particular, who was going through a really tough time. In her situation, it was more drugs and alcohol. But she found God, she found Christ, but she found it in a way that was a fearful God. And that there were certain things that she had to do in order to be perfect in God's eyes and in her family's eyes. And all these people were telling her what she should do as a faith person. And it was tearing her up. It was tearing her apart. And but there was a lot of emotion tied to it because of her past and feeling unworthy, unloved, being followed by people that still wanted to be with her, but she knew that they weren't good for her, but she didn't trust herself or feel worthy enough to have somebody better. So anyway, I met this woman who was struggling, and when I was struggling, it was when I decided to find God in my own way, because I was always looking for him, and I was always going to church and talking to him, not with my family. This was after college, and I found a church and started to fit in, try to fit in, and everyone was hearing God, and God was talking to them, and I had a really good pastor who talked to me through, the Bible. I studied the Bible and was learning. And this woman that was my client was going through the same, but she was struggling with not doing it the way everybody else was doing it. And so we started doing a little bit of, trying to figure out where this problem started with her and some of the things that she was having to deal with. And when she first started with me, she was very disconnected. She came in, she had a person in the room with her that was interrupting while we were talking, and she would get hot, and she'd take off her shirt and she'd put it back on, and just a lot of stuff like that going on. And so we started talking, and she was telling me some things that had happened in her life, the drugs and alcohol and not being able to keep a job. And I mean, she's an intelligent woman, very intelligent woman, a lot of things to offer to the world. A musician, just an amazing woman. And as she was walking, as we were ending our call, she brought up God. And I said, well, tell me what's the problem? What are you challenged with? And she started telling her story. And so I was able to share my story in a way that helped her look at her relationship with God in a different way. And that was pretty much the start of our coaching sessions. Because we both had this belief that we had to do it everybody else's way. We had to do it the way everyone else wanted it to be. And walking her through that as well. And first we went through the basic recipe, and that helped calm her down and feel much more in her body, and started giving her the opportunity to ask questions and feel comfortable in the questions that she was asking. And then when she was getting emotional, going through the emotional recipe, got her into the next level of understanding of who she was as a person. She became more active in her church in a way that was comfortable for her. God spoke to her through music. He didn't come to her, face to face over prayer time. He came to her when she was with music. And so, she started realizing how to incorporate how it was working for her and being comfortable with the way it was working for her. And she started to hear God more in her act. She started playing more music and creating more songs. She started sending me beautiful songs that she had written, and then would sing them for me. And she was so in her element. All of a sudden her life was starting to change, and she quit smoking. She wasn't drinking. She had already given up drinking, but she gave up smoking, and she had been 30 days on that, and she still hasn't smoked. She got a new job. And that job was a contract job. And originally she was really worried that she was going to lose this job because it was contract and she wouldn't get it. Well, it was a contract job, and she did have to move to another job, and she found an even better one. And so It just, even her skin tone and her hair and her body and how she held herself was completely reversed, like totally a whole woman, you know. The other one that was really, really big, a really big transition, and it was only, she only needed 3 sessions. And she was having problems. She's not from here. Her and her husband moved here from, I think, the Philippines. And she had her own business, and she was having problems with her parents, making her feel bad for her successes. And she was very, very depressed and dealing with a lot of things, weight included. And she just felt that she needed help. And so you recommended her. Actually, I think all of them came through you. And she got on the phone with me, and she was kind of like a mess, a lot of crying and emotion, and not sure what to do or where to go, and what to say, and how to be the best kid for her parents, and why they were making her saying many bad things to her that were really affecting her at home. And we went through 3 of the basic recipe, and it just kind of lifted from her completely. And she's got her business is booming. Her relationship with her husband and her kids is phenomenal. The parents don't have as much effect on her as they'd had in the past. She's comfortable with who she is. Lost a lot of weight. Looks like dynamic. Just looks totally wonderful, and doing really well.